who's playing at the back tonight, and a year ago was actually playing in an NPL Grand Final for Sydney United, Sydney, Croatia. Now he's with Western United. Tommy Uskok starts in the centre of defence after the big selection news, the fact that Andrew Durante has not come up after his heavy knock he took against Brisbane Roar. The opponents, Melbourne City, have reverted to their strongest starting 11, including that man. 22 goals in 23 appearances this season. Jamie McLaren has another golden boot. Can he guide his team into a grand final? And Florent Berenguer, the Frenchman, who has really found his feet this season under Eric Mombert, he too could have a big bearing on what is about to happen here at Bankwest Stadium. So we are just about set. Final instructions for Melbourne City. Western United are ready. And now we too are ready. Craig Noon started like a house on fire for Melbourne City after joining in the off-season. 3 goals in 3 to start the FFA Cup. He's come and gone, but he's provided all the way along. Jamie McLaren loves that partnership, and he's back in the starting lineup after serving a suspension. And how can you not admire what this man can do on a football pitch? Our winner of the Fox Sports Player of the Year, the Alex Tobin Award, Alessandro Diamanti. Josh Brillante knows all about finals football, and we are underway. Western United to start, and Alessandro Diamanti to provide territory. Adam Peacock alongside Andy Harper. Here we go, Harps.
Yeah, indeed, Adam, indeed. As we've been saying pretty much for the last few weeks, perfect conditions here for this winner-take-all prize to qualify for the grand final. I'm sure it is set to be a cracking game of football. Big questions, I guess, of how well Melbourne City can refine their form against a Western United team who's surely come into the game, Adam, a little battered and bruised, to say the least, but they can rise above that, I'm sure. The question is how consistently and to what sort of effect. It'll be a gripping game of football, I'm sure.
This is Western United's 8th game in 33 days. Melbourne City have played 3 in that time. Short corner taken, and Connor Payne links up with Diamanti, who gets it back again and can whip across in. Josh Brillante is at the near stick. Diamanti. A little more air on this one. Over to Uskok, who can nod it back. And Steve Lustiger, who scored against Sydney FC, the winner at Leichhardt Oval in one of Western United's final games of the season, couldn't get good enough contact on that one to really trouble Tom Glover. It's Curtis Good looking long down that channel for Berenguer. Brillante's there to pick up the second ball. And it goes from Noon back to the Frenchman Berenguer. And Aaron Calver nods away. Went through a bit of a preliminary fitness test, if you like, Aaron Calver, before the game, warming up before the warm-up. Got through that, which is handy because Mark Rudan could ill afford to lose both he and Andrew Durante before this one. How does that affect things?
Well, massively. You come in before kick-off and you look at how the cards are falling for both teams. We've already referred to the weight of games that Western United have had to navigate to get here. And once all that's considered, the big defining factor is the loss of Andrew Durante. Enormous experience, has just played fabulously well since his move to Western from Wellington, where he was also playing fabulously. So he does leave a massive hole in the Western United team tonight.
Richard Winbichler, the Austrian, really found his feet post-COVID, post-lockdown. City can get the ball forward. A bit of a shank there from Craig Noon, but Lockie Wales with his flash haircut and flash boots is enough to bring it down, but from an offside position.
Now, Adam, before we get into the cut and thrust, I do, on a sombre note, I'll get this out the way. Very sad news, and that we extend our sympathies to the family of Luke Gardoni, a young 21-year-old mad football fan, had died during a game playing for his junior club, Castle Hill United. And to the Gardoni family, Andrew and Michelle, the parents, Alicia and Aaron, We can't imagine your grief, folks, but we share your pain.
Here, here, Harps. Here, here. Nick on the side of Adrian Luna's head. That's the Max Burgess. City play out long again, so the first couple have gone long. That one from Harrison Delbridge, and it falls to Burgess. Oh, Calver's made a move down that left side. It's usually Connor Payne territory.
There's a decent gallop and a good start from Max Burgess as well. There's some question marks about his readiness for battle, but he seems to have started well, which is great news for Western.
Diamante just recovers, and it looked like to be a dangerous situation developing for Melbourne City. Instead, he's won the other way, but Lustica and Risdon got their wires crossed.
Yeah, it's a big night for Stevie Lustica. His team really needs him up against a really functional midfield. Pasquale, one of his partners, certainly inexperienced by comparison. Diamante more responsible, I guess, for lighting the attack. A lot of focus on Stevie Lustica. What fine player. Just came a cropper on that decision. Risdon was through if you could have split that defence, which was very makeable for a player of his quality.
Steve Lustica has been to a grand final before with Brisbane Roar. 6 months ago, he was playing in rural Uzbekistan. Things can change pretty quick. Here's Lockie Wales, speaking of quick. They'll go the switch through Berenguer out to Atkinson. He'll look to cut back on his favoured right boot, and does to good effect there. Luna, head over the top of Jamie McLaren, who can't quite bring it down. And it just went over the byline for a goal kick. Yeah, so things, as I mentioned, with Steve Lustica change in football, and mentioned at the top about Tommy Uskok on this ground, literally about 12 months ago, playing for Sydney, Croatia in an NPL grand final, and then gets the call from Mark Redan, who he's worked with at that club at NPL level, come and fill a couple of gaps, and he's been doing well in midfield. He's at the centre of that back three in between Calver and the very impressive Japanese defender Tomoki Imai, who tries to head away there to Josh Risdon. Good switch, clean switch over to Connor Payne and linking up with Burgess. Scott, Lustica. They get a lot of value out of their wing-backs, Harps. They've each combined for multiple assists. Connor Payne 7 assists for Western United this season, and Josh Risdon 9.
Yeah, well, in that sense, both these teams match each other well, as the wide players for Melbourne City are very important for them. So each will be well warned of the other's approach. And Risdon's, again, he had a bit of an injury cloud hanging over his head, but he started very brightly here. Also for Western,
Wales looking to put a move on Aaron Calver there, but slipped at the vital moment. I have noticed is early. It's not a real surprise given what he means. We'll pause that for a moment. Lockie Wales into the box. Well shielded by Aaron Calver, out for a corner though.
Well, a couple of players slipping around already. It's been a recurring theme here at the stadium. Asked Tony Popovich about this in a Perth Glory match, as Lockie Wales can't find the solution when it's a great opportunity. Well, the pitch is a soft cover of grass, which is what we see, but a very hard clayey sort of base under it. And players slipping like skittles a lot of the time.
Corner in from Wales. And a header, which was going wide, but Bessar Barisha didn't take a chance. Away it comes. And missing it. Does Diamante have a go here? Because Tom Glover's off his line. He looks up just a little too late. Elects to drive forward still. And he's not fouled by Craig Noon in the eyes of Ali Reza Fagani. So City can counter-attack. The counter-attack here. And here's Lockie Wales. Luna around the back. Wasn't the greatest link-up ball with Luna, and just had to stop. And that stopped forward momentum.
Oh, Lachie Wales really with... That's a poor pass to Lerner, which, as you rightly called Adam, just totally punctured the balloon. Good opportunity for both teams. Diamante just dwelt at fraction.
Here's Craig Noon. Well defended again by Josh Risdon. There is an opportunity open side here. Risdon thought about going back to right, confused himself, gets some help from Reza Fagani, who blocked off, if you like, Adrian Luna. Allowed Western United to stay in possession. Good width about their setup here, Western United. And Risdon with the angled run and looking for Berisha. It was a good ball. Just Berisha perhaps dwelling at the start in terms of what Risdon was going to do about it.
Yeah, great touch so far from Josh Risdon, but the pass needed to be delivered right along the ground. And Berisha would have been in, but the bounce was difficult for him, too difficult as it turned out to deal with. A very tidy bit of work up till then from Josh Risdon.
Wales and Luna trying to link up with each other. You make a Melbourne City setup so far this season. A bit's been made of their inverted fullback going into midfield as they're trying to play out. This is a little different with Delbridge forming a back three as they play out, and Atkinson a little further up, but sticking wide.
Well, they've settled into it really nicely. And the key to their attack, as far as I can see, is the triangles they form on either flank. The appropriate midfielder linking with the wide player and the fullback, combining to make that triangle, and if that blocks off, they ping it to the other wing, and that triangle has a go. Very difficult to counter. And of course, all of it underpinned by the work of this guy, Josh Brillanti, who patrols the base of the midfield. Anytime the attack breaks down, he just covers that ground so brilliantly.
Challenge there between Noon and Emma. Western United side get away with it a little, and Bessart Berisha can forge down this right side, trying to get inside Curtis Good. A little bit of a tangle up and wins the foul.
Yeah, terrific work from Bessart Berisha. It was a pretty clever header from Diamante to get the ball to Risdon in the first place, who first time helped it to Bessart. They're not going to be able to outpace Curtis Good to the byline, so very intelligently cuts the ball inside and draws the contact, wins the foul. Smart play.
Bessart Berisha, 10 goals in 16 A-League finals. See the option here for Diamante. It's a good header defensively from Atkinson. It bobbles around a little in the air. In the end, Tom Glover says enough of this and sends it north. So Pasquale just does enough there. It's well done by Max Burgess. Turned a 2-in-1 into a 1-on-none with one little touch. Turn of the hips, and then they can go forward now, Western United. Connor Payne bombing down that left side. Russia asking for it beyond that last line, didn't get it. And another slip allows Lachie Wales to come away. Does he take them on or maintain possession? He's a little loose with his delivery. Delbridge. And Josh Brillanti, as you made mention of, Harps, is the glue for everything to stick and work. He's involved in a lot. The man who has won trophies the last 3 seasons with Sydney FC. In a different shade of sky blue. Will he be meeting his old teammates in a grand final? Second semi-final coming up from Bankwest Stadium after this one. Oh, that could have been a little loose and a little worse than what it was. Pasquale does well to go back to Curto, and they can play out through Calver. There it is, the information. It's slated for a 8:10 kickoff. Sydney FC and Perth Glory tonight. And of course, the grand final exclusively live on Fox Sports on Sunday evening. Brilliant few days of football for Australian football coming up. Going to Mark Bosnich, and Bos, as the sun goes, is there any moisture forming, making conditions change as the minutes go on in this first half?
No, not as yet. Good evening, Adam. Good evening, Andy, and hello to everybody wherever you be watching around the world. Look, in terms of the start for both sides, you mentioned, and Melbourne City do this so well. For the first 5 minutes or so, Good and Delbridge and Vimblica, no problem in playing the long ball for Jamie McLaren. And what that generally does is get the opposition to drop back. And so they've got room to start getting their passing game going. They're a little bit rusty at the moment. It's quite obvious that West United are a team that have been playing more regularly. One thing to watch out for West United as well, and I think Harps mentioned that before, that they've really employed this really well. One of their centre-backs actually coming forward and making that extra man. And a lot of opposition teams are finding that hard to deal with. So Melbourne City have just got to be careful at the moment. They're just struggling to get into their rhythm.
Geez, Bos will be down at regular intervals. The sideline eye of Mark Bosnich, who has been in love with the last month that he's experienced at every single game. Called it a World Cup type situation for the finish of the A-League, and we've enjoyed A-League on most nights.
I don't know if there's anything in this, but Josh Risden's just had a quick suck on a tube of something. 14 minutes in. He's not gone for the pickle juice already, has he, Josh? The wrapper's still there.
Electrolytes? Gummy bears?
Or whatever, to keep him going at the level he started. Maybe that's the plan. He's been excellent the opening quarter hour.
Glover, Winbickler under hit pass, and Western United are in here. Big chance developing, but Harrison Delbridge sticks that big right foot in. And they can come away. That's good defending from Aaron Calver on the front foot, and that was dangerous in itself because Bessart Barisha was alone at the top of the box. City can come away through McLaren and Wales. Adrian Luna busting the gut to get around Wales, who went toward the sideline as Luna was making that run. Uruguayan taken out of play by the direction Wales took. Bernante finds the feet of McLaren. That's a dangerous ball, but he can't manufacture anything off the back of that.
Well, Bozzy used the word rusty and couldn't find a better one. There it is. What do we got there?
Isotonic, that's electrolytes.
There you go, 15 in.
Yeah, looking for that second win.
That's right. But Bozzo employed the term rusty to describe Melbourne City's start, and Jamie McLaren's effort there completely epitomised that. It's bang on. They're not to be fooled with, but they're certainly not as sharp in this opening quarter hour as they have been in the first hour of many recent matches played by them.
Stockton, Pasquale thought about giving it to Risdon, but spins out of trouble, and that's some neat balance from the former Melbourne Victory starlet, and he sends a beautiful ball out to Connor Payne, who can feed it into Max Burgess. Quite get the run at it. Vinbickler was good defending, and then that ball falls to pieces.
Yeah, Max Burgess there needs to hit the ball in stride first time. It was great space made by Western United, and I just think he overcooked it. But thrilling to watch Max's emergence through this season. Regular game time, all earned, of course, but he's been sparkling.
Diamante to Barisha, who'll have a go. It's wide, wasn't quite on balance, but a warning shot fired by Western United.
Indeed, and given this match status as a semi-final, that's a lot of space to be allowing Bessart Barisha. Diamante instinctively helping it over. He's slightly off balance, but he's scored some speckies in deciders before. I wouldn't want to be giving Bessart Barisha that much room at any stage of a knockout match.
Oh, he's in here, Lockie Wales in behind Aaron Calver, one-on-one with Philippe Courteau, who's up to it, but Jamie McLaren! What a finish, instinct personified, flags up though. This will go for a check just to make sure. So the linesman on that far side, Ryan Gallagher, kept his flag down while play developed, just to see, and then if it developed into something grand like a goal, which it did, is he offside? Ooh, Tomoki Imai might be keeping him on here. It's going to go for a review. we wait and wait. We've got a gut feel, Harps.
Well, the gut feel is he'll probably be a toenail offside, which in the VAR world is enough.
Margaret Ann questioned the value of bringing it back. There's a bit of value in that for Western United. Yeah, question the value of bringing it back for the finals, and it was a bit of an odd one. That post-lockdown we didn't have VAR, now we do. And Western United escape going behind. Free kick, Connor Payne judged to have illegally shielded the ball, formed a ruck.
Well, yeah, I'm still not quite sure about that. The ball had to be moved, the princely sum of 25 centimetres.
Noon's ball in. Barisha, defensive duties, heads away, and Uscock makes sure of it. Back to Atkinson. It can come back again here for Melbourne City. Pretty quick, smart. Berenguer. Good, and Brillante. And that's a ball that comes to nothing. So here it is again. And
well, there's a kneecap or a big toe in it, according to that angle. But at this stage, Adam, and it's not a matter of the amount, it's a matter of yes or no.
And it was a no. What was your take on it all, Mark Bosnich, and also the reaction from the respective benches too?
Well, first and foremost, the reaction from the benches was both excellent in terms of respectful, especially Melbourne City, who obviously it was given against. From my point of view, I'd just like to ask the question, and we'll have to ask that to Chris Beef or maybe the VAR people afterwards. Was the flag going up for Jamie McLaren coming from an offside position before he flicked it on to Lockie Wales? Because in terms of Lockie Wales, I mean, we haven't got the benefit of the lines that the VAR official has, so and we take their word from it. But looking at Lockie Wales in that position, I thought he was onside.
Good point, Mark Bosnich. Lateral thinking, lateral thinking.
Why, thank you.
Philippe Curto. MI on the full press here, Melbourne City. If they can play out, they could find a bit of space here, Melbourne City. And that ball to Diamante wasn't quite in the area of playing forward straight away. But what about that ball out to Connor Payne? And Max Burgess around. This is Steve Lustica. Goes from right to left. Back right again with Josh Risdon. Diamante, left foot, nope. Shimmy brings in Risdon again. The cross isn't up to standard, but wins a corner.
Disappointing for Western. Just been under a little bit of pressure the last 5 minutes. This was a good outlet for them. Diamante cutting the ball back from his favoured left foot. Most people watching, I'm assuming we're expecting him to try for the far corner. He's very capable, but he cut it back onto his right foot and fed Risdon, who again found himself in some really good space, but didn't have the requisite touch on the delivery. It was a poor one by his standards.
Burgess. Risdon closed down by Luna. Has a go with his left foot. That's a good one. Tom Glover was up to the task. He's done that before, Josh Risdon, with his left foot from the top of the box. Remember, one against Melbourne victory. That was a smart save from the Olyroos goalkeeper. He doesn't muck around. It goes. And Erosa, again, he didn't like the challenge from Craig Noon. Much like he didn't like the challenge as a fourth official on the night that Craig Noon got sent off against Adelaide United. The tackle on Michael Jakobsen. Squad turn out of those situations so well. It's a lovely ball out to Connor Payne. And again, there's space down this left side for Payne and Burgess to link up. It's become something meaningful here. First attempt is blocked. Lustica. Pasquale, who started this all. stepping up and then going further forward as well. They've got a 3-on-2 here. Quite aware of the situation before it became really apparent.
That's quite adventurous from MI, which pinned Melbourne City back as they were from that rage from Josh Risdon. Just, again, putting an exclamation mark on the quality basically at the start of this match from the Socceroo fullback.
Risdon wriggling clear, and as Greenshield says, it's gone over off Risdon before he put it into the defender. Scott. Lucky Imai. Risdon. Ooh, one left on Luna by Steve Lustig. Luna. Awkward. The Uruguayan. So here it is. It's Jamie McLaren offside from the goal kick. However, just checking if Glover had played that already or it was straight from the goal kick, because Harps.
It's testing my memory, but if it was straight from Tommy Glover's boot, you're onside from the goal kick, which would mean it was Lachie Wales' kneecap or big toe. But I'm sure there's a sniper in the grassy knoll somewhere.
McLaren's onside this time. What a lovely ball from Luna. He's going to have a first-time go, perhaps. He puts his hand up for a handball. Turning to Reza Fagani, and Iranian experienced referee is having none of it. McLaren, you remember the match in Geelong, Harps, that you were at, I think. He scored that goal.
On one leg.
Similar situation.
On one leg. He had hamstring trouble. Missed the next game, as I recall, but he finished the game at hand, successfully so. Whereas Jamie McLaren has joined that rare band of players who scored a brace in each match against the same opponent in the season. 3 doubles he's got against Western United. J-Mac.
No player has ever scored 4 straight games, 2 goals or more against the same opponent in the history of the A-League. So a little bit more history, perhaps, Jamie McLaren tonight. He thought he had one. It's chalked off, and it remains 0-0. Really entertaining first 26 minutes here, this first semi-final. Western United and Melbourne City. Second one to come, Perth Glory and Sydney FC. Players readying themselves downstairs for that one. Burgess couldn't quite get under control there. The first time ball, and Noon wasn't quite on the same wavelength. Clears to that battle between Good and Barisha. It looks like Bessart's found his dance partner for tonight, Curtis Good. Steve Lustig coming short. He didn't need to come that short, but was still clear enough to break out, and then a beautiful little interchange. Again releases space down this left, and Burgess and Payne linking up. Payne just grabs hold of it that time and drives forward. Pasquale opens it up to Moki Imai. Diamante couldn't quite turn on the ball. Atkinson gets rid of Josh Risdon and can play in Florian Berenguer here. Down this left side, Steve Lustica has joined him. So the two number 10s head-to-head here. It's a decent cross, but no one making that late run into the box for Melbourne City. They're all already there on that last line. And Diamante almost gets stuck between them in the air. Josh Berlanti and Curtis Good. Bickler has been so impressive since he's overcome his hamstring injuries at the back there for Melbourne City. That's why he couldn't get going earlier in the season. Shot down is Adrian Luna, who's come in for a bit of treatment so far.
Well, Max Burgess will be fortunate if he dodges a yellow card here. I think there's some finals patience been shown by the ref. Luna cuts inside. Burgess is 3 hours late there. I mean, there's not even a pretense that he's going for the ball.
He's not even on Perth time. Curtis Good has drifted way to the left here. I reckon he's going to be the target. He's just going to charge in like a wounded bull into that penalty spot from, see him bottom left there, the number 22. Craig Noon and Lockie Wales over the ball, picking up something. Here it comes from Noon, and Good is around the back, but Tommy Uscock was there and did well to get it out for a corner.
Well, we're saying that came off Uscock, which you've called as well, Adam. What sort of pressure's he under here from Curtis Good? Eyes for the ball. It's not a foul on Uscock? Like, I don't know.
There's a little one in the back there.
Mind you, the ref might have thought, well, the contact has come after Uscock's already hit the ball out.
Atkinson is in a bit of space. The ball didn't quite fall to him. Can break here, Western United, but Burgess is pretty much going to have to go alone. It was adjudged to have gone off Nathaniel Atkinson before it hit Max Burgess again. And Mark Redan with a bit of advice to Reza Pagani, who has refereed in some of the biggest games in world football. World Cups, Asian Cup final here involving the Socceroos in Korea, 2015. Josh Berlanti. Eldridge, what you do about nothing that ball. Lockie Wales is off and running here. Bickler trying to find him. It's a well-weighted ball, but the presence of Connor Payne and also the fortitude Western United to get on top of that developing situation. Uscock nowhere to go but there, basically.
Melbourne City do this well. They sort of grind down an opponent, squeeze them into a corner where they then get numerically an advantage and force a giveaway like that from Uscock and then launch from that platform. Really to counter that, it's beholden upon the team against Melbourne City to maintain their belief that they can switch the point of attack directly to the space that Melbourne City have left when they go to crowd one side of the field defensively.
Diamante has Nathaniel Atkinson for close company there. He was going to win the foul. He does in the end, no advantage. Diamante looks up, looks for Connor Payne. Thought that would have been a bit risky. Goes through Calver instead. His pass is sloppy. Dwelt on the ball. Will they get punished? Lockie Wales. He's around that last defender. McLaren went near posts. Craig Noon couldn't quite get to that back post. It falls for Berenguer though. A bit of fancy footwork from the Frenchman. too quick for his own good there. Slips on the surface.
Yeah, he's looking heavy tonight. The ball over the top for Lachie Wales there was a good one. It's been his best moment of the match, Berenguer. He's been sparkling since the resumption, but just looking a little heavy there, and that he couldn't get his feet going. Ultimately coming unstuck because he slipped over, but he's not as sharp as so far tonight, which is a good break for Western United, because he has been fabulous the last number of games for Melbourne City.
He's really appreciated the influence of his French manager, and Eric Montbert, there he is. He knew of Berenguer. I think he knows about every French footballer that has been born in the last 50 years. Eric Montbert, given his ties with the development system in France, but he's really appreciated Berenguer. Has really started to shine this season after at times last season, to use a Robbie Slaterism, looking like a fish up a tree under Warren Joyce. With all due respect to Florian, he just looked confused out there. That's a beautiful ball from Alessandro Diamanti. Just a little wide for Burgess, but he corrals it and brings it back in. Is the cross going to find Barisha? Can't. And desperate defending from Richard Vinbickler, but good moment there for Western United.
Oh, it's a superb break. And again, it was the brilliance of Diamanti to release Burgess, and things just dragged on a bit. Burgess looked up first time, and Best Barisha was finding it really difficult to make up the ground. It's just an observation, not a criticism. So Burgess has to delay a little bit, gives the very athletic Melbourne City defence time to recover and block the effort, send it out for the corner. But so much more might have come from that beautiful pass of Alessandro Diamanti.
Payne joins in to cross. No, it's Diamanti. It's a well-positioned ball. Desperate times called for Melbourne City's rear guard. Diamanti, if you don't mind. You're disappointed with that?
Yeah.
It's not on target.
Well, Diamanti goes for the Van Basten. How's that for a couple of names? But this had Van Basten all over it in the lead-up. Not quite so the finish. But you have to be brilliant and confident in your ability to even imagine such a thing. There's the fish up the tree now. All gills and all.
Graham Arnold. Robbie Slater about to call our second game tonight between Sydney and Perth. Graham Arnold, the Socceroos boss, with Andrew Clark, the head of physical performance for the national teams there as well, keeping an eye on all the Australian talent on display tonight, down to our own great Australian talent in Mark Bosnich. And you get the feeling, Bosnich, that City still trying to find the exact way to pick apart Western United here.
That they are, Adam, and first and foremost, a great call from Andy Harper saying with that offside it was off a goal kick, so it had to be Lachie Wales. So obviously the VAR had the lines and the benefit of that we don't have, but still hasn't really, I could say, allayed some of Melbourne City's bench's frustrations with a few of the decisions thus far. In terms of what you just said about Melbourne City, they're right in the game here, and that's credit to Western United. Mark Rudan has got their defence at a really good distance in terms of being, when Melbourne City are building up from the back, they're not too far forward, they're not too far back, and they're making them play through. And right this moment in time, they're still not playing through as fluently and as good as they were in some of the other games we've seen them this season. They're really in the game here, and Western United are doing absolutely fantastic.
It's out Barisha. That from Diamanti, and Barisha was in there. We get a cross over, elected not to. Filthy bounce for Sepp Pasquale, but he does well. He's really adjusted well to starting the game tonight, Pasquale. Diamanti and Burgess. He's going to drive in and have a pop. That he does, and Glover needs to get down to his left pretty quick.
Smart save, Tom Glover. Second time to his left he's been tested. Beautiful footwork on the near touch line by Diamanti. Great work from Burgess to get such a telling effort on goal. Good goalkeeping from Glover. Good action.
5 shots to 2 so far for Western United. So Glover and his gloves are warmer. Philippe Curtos. Such an impressive season for Tom Glover. Started in round 10 and really hasn't looked back in a Melbourne City shirt when he's been around. That little break in the middle of the season was due to the fact that he was helping the Olyroos qualify for what would have been this year's Olympics and hopefully next in Tokyo. And Mark Bosnich is a bit of a fan of Tom Glover, the way he goes about his business.
It's great space that Luna tries to cover up. Burgess takes the opportunity and shoots really strongly.
Curtis Good. To Bickler, and this time it's McLaren to feet as the number 9, bringing in Brillante, and they can go forward here, Melbourne City. And Risdon, Josh Risdon is having a hell of a game down that right side, and Diamante couldn't quite spot his run before it was too late. Melbourne City can build up again. This time it's Berenguer coming back to try and be that link man. Wales and Brillante, and Atkinson's in a position here to be able to play forward and into space. Craig Noon. This is a good one just over Lockie Wales. Delbridge has moved up. Burgess and Vin Bickler are going to come together. No foul. Sounded like there was a bit of contact. How well has he done that tonight, Seb Pasquale, when he's been pressured?
He's been outstanding. And it's not just that. His composure and control in tight, which needs to be celebrated, but also an entry-level requirement for an A-League midfielder. Fantastic. But his vision and passes from centre out to Connor Payne, 2 or 3 of them have been outstanding. It's good to see Pasquale playing in this manner.
It's just his 11th A-League game, just his 7th start in the game. 20-year-old, originally from Wangaratta, and was over at Ajax for 2.5 years, playing under 19s and reserves. Came home to get some regular football. Took a while to get going this season with Western United, but this is the evidence of what his talent's about. And I see a fair bit more of him over the next few seasons, at least. Ball just closed down by Berenguer, and can give it to Noon to break. Does he take on Tomoki Imai one-on-one? No, he tries the nutmeg, which came off. Foul given. Eli Razor didn't like the look of that too much.
Well, nice play from Craig Noon. Not a lot on offer. A nice little shift of his feet. Comes a cropper. Give you close attention of 2 Western players.
You really get the timing exactly right if you're going to try and run around Tomoki Imai as well.
He's certainly grown, hasn't he? He was very clearly underdone when Mark Rudin first brought him into the team, but he obviously saw great potential. And a very good CV to underpin that belief, but since the resumption, he's been one of the best centre-halves in the league, no question.
Luna's got around the back here, and Wales is trying to link up, but again, the weight of pass isn't quite there for Lockie Wales. Luna. It's McLaren. That wasn't quite the ball in the end. Aaron Calvin made it perhaps a little more difficult than it needed to be.
Well, yeah, approaching half-time, still plenty to go, obviously, in this half, but what confronts Melbourne City, in my opinion, now is that they know how well they can play, and they've got the second half to do it. What remains of the first, and then the second half to do it, which is the flip side of what they normally confront at half-time, is how do we go on with a fantastic performance, which they haven't necessarily been able to achieve every game.
It's good defending from Vin Bickler, but it does fall to Connor Payne, who continued his run. Back to Burgess. Lustica. Neat little ball in there for Max Burgess. This time it's an early ball into Bessart Barisha, and trouble ensues in the end. Nathaniel Atkinson was in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, very good, Curtis Good. And then Atkinson. That's a dangerous cross. Hit in from Burgess. They've looked really good, Western United. They've been the better of the 2 teams on balance in the first half.
That was that early ball you were talking about earlier with Max Burgess.
Yeah, I just And that's a good example of the value of mixing it up a bit. Beautiful, elegant work from Luscott.
Move continues through Lustica. Diamante, here we go. Big switch, Connor Payne. Have that, right on the chest. And around Delbridge he goes with a fair bit of ease, but just a little overcooked across as Josh Risdon was getting into a dangerous area at the right time.
Well, that's the value of the switcher play against Melbourne City. They've done it a couple of times. It was a belter from Diamante. It was a really good approach play option from Connor Payne, and the right idea with the delivery as well. Just didn't quite sync things up with Josh Risdon. They're finishing very strongly. The point about Melbourne City is, which I'm sure I'd like to think they're buoyed by, is that there's no chance of them being complacent after half-time, because they'll realise they're staring down the barrel here.
Got a set piece to defend on the cusp of half-time. And Max Burgess is taking his hot old time to get over there and take it. No ball there, though.
What sort of service is this, says Alessandro? Gonna have to do my own laundry soon.
First one blocked by Daniel Atkinson, who's over there on the right defending. And they'll have another go. No, they won't. Tommy Glover just plucks it out of the air. Thought that was going beyond, but it didn't, and Melbourne City can play out here through Curtis Good. Western United immediately back into a pretty compact block. Can they play through this Melbourne City? Craig Noon looking for that straighter ball. Atkinson's done really well here. Just goes over that byline before he can get back on it. So that's that for the first half, where Western United worries about their physical state and how in the zone they'd be after just playing a couple of days ago to get themselves into this position. Well, no thoughts of that after 45 minutes. They are right in this, and Melbourne City have a few issues to solve. Half-time, though, it's Melbourne City 0, Western United 0. And we've got that half-time show coming up with Tara Rushton and the boys, Alex Brosk and Mark Bosnich, in a moment. They're going to have a really close look at some of the big moments from the first half. First, though, we're going to get the thoughts of Josh Belante. Josh, few issues out there posed by Western